Okay, good morning everybody. Dean Mannheimer. We will begin our training this Saturday on what I call it's basically referred to as return on investment. And I got a couple of graphics here, and then I got a couple of things I want to talk about as it relates to our business and where we're going with it. This graphic here is designed to show you a time frame of 5 years. If you follow the horizontal line, you see that's divided into 5 categories or five sections. Each section represents a year. The vertical is our income, and we all know that in any business, when you get started, you put in a whole lot more time into your business and you get out of it in terms of income. But as you continue to progress and move through, in terms of years, your return in terms of income grows as the effort and the time that's required to be put into it starts decreasing for that return. So if you follow this particular graphic here, we're talking about, for example, if you look at your business month or year one, you'll see here that the green portion of it represents your earnings, and the white portion of it above this here in this column represents your time. So you're putting in a whole lot more time than what you're getting out of it in terms of income. And this is traditional business. This applies in the network marketing world as well. Year number 2, your income starts to grow significantly more. You're getting a little bit better than double the return that you got your first year. The time that you have to invest to get that return is less, obviously. Year number 3, it becomes a little better than a break even, meaning your return for your effort, your financial return for your effort, is equal to or even a little bit better. So you're starting to see a good return on your income. Now, keep one thing in mind when I talk about the return in terms of income. I'm talking about it on a residual income basis combined with the earnings generated from business building activity, what we would call networking in our business. Now, I'm going to make a distinction between that here in a minute, because I want you to understand the significant difference we have versus a traditional business and versus any other network marketing company, and that's going to be significant. Month 4, you can see your return now is getting much greater. Month 5, same situation. So year 5, or I should say, year 5, you're getting a significant return for really a small amount of time and energy and effort put into it. And so when people look at a graphic like this, it's kind of vague. They go, yeah, well, what does it mean, and how does it relate to what I'm doing, and those types of things. So here's another graphic I use in comparison, and people can relate to this because we're talking about finances. We're talking about money. And so what I said here is, let's take month number 1 or year number 1, and let's make some assumptions. Let's assume you can actually go to the bank and get a 5% interest, annual interest, on an investment. So if I was to say to somebody, or if you were to say to somebody, and again, we got to remember, we're talking about building an organization of masses, lots of people. Some of them are going to, or most of them will be part-time, that type of thing. There's a number of us that do this as a full-time, this is our career path. So we can modulate these numbers based on what we do. But we need to be able to teach and train for everybody that becomes involved in our business. So we say, okay, year number 1, if I was to say to you, I can help you build a business to where you can get $200 a month every single month, would you consider that good? And most people would say no. $200 isn't worth my time and energy. But the other question is this: how much money do you need to have in the bank at 5% interest to earn $200 a month? Well, the answer is $48,000. Now, $48,000 at 5% interest will in fact generate that return. But most people don't have $48,000. Now, if we double that, looking at year number 2 to $400, I mean, it's double the income, but it's also, double the required amount of dollars you need to have in the bank to $96,000 at 5% to get the same return. But $400 a month, for most of us, I mean, when we're talking about leaders, we're talking about people that are used to making very significant income, doesn't seem like a great deal of money. But when you put it in relationship to having $96,000 cash available to you, again, most people don't have it, but that's what it equates to. And then you can see as we go through your 3rd year, $600 a month, a little bit better, but not a whole lot. You need to have over 100 grand. We look at year 3, 1,000 a month, 2,000, 5,000 a month. So if you look at the 5,000 a month, and we're talking, at that juncture, it's a combination of residual income and business building activity. At 5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, you would need to have in the bank $1.2 million to generate that kind of interest, at simple interest on an annualized basis at 5%. So you equate the ability, whether you talk about 200 a month or 5,000 a month, in dollars and cents, it makes a little bit more sense to the average individual, especially when you're talking with people like, it's hardly worth my time and effort. And then you say, well, wait a minute, do you have 48,000 in the bank? Do you have 144,000 in the bank? Whatever it is. The answer is always going to be, I won't say always, let's say 97, 98% of the time, well, no, I don't. That's what it equates to. If you were making an extra $600 a month, every single month, it equates to you having $144,000 in the bank. So that's how you need to understand it, and that's how you need to equate it. This is why when we talk to people, one of the things that I've learned in my career in the network marketing direct sales industry is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen made from individuals is they quit their business because they don't think they're earning enough money. Now, there's a couple of reasons why they don't think that. Number one, they don't think they're earning enough money because they've heard all the stories in network marketing about these people who are making all this crazy money in 60, 90 days, 120 days, and they're struggling to even get close to those kinds of numbers. They see themselves as a failure. And so, people who talk about, that kind of income, does it happen? Sure, it happens, but it happens with people that are pulling large numbers from an existing organization. We're talking about people who have skill sets that the average individual doesn't have, that gives them the ability to do things the average individual can't do. If you're talking about somebody that's been in the industry for a number of years and they can pull a couple of hundred, 1,000, whatever they're pulling from another organization into a new business, yes, they can jump up there really quick and make a lot of money. If you're talking about somebody that's got internet marketing skills and they're making incredible money real quick, can they do it? Absolutely. Is that something the rank and file can do? Absolutely not. We need to be realistic about the kind of business that we're building. There's an old phrase, and I try to stay away from some of the old colloquialisms from networking because most of them are used just to prod people, but there is an old saying that if you want to dine with the masses, if you want to dine with the classes, you got to be able to run with the masses. Well, the whole point behind that is this: if you can help the average individual earn themselves between $300 to $500 a month, and I'm talking about the average individual, number one, you've changed their life forever. They're not going to quit what they're doing because they're making money. Nobody ever quits what they're doing because when they're making money. They quit when they're not making any money. So if you can help people do that, then you are at a point where those who know how to build massive organizations can make incredible income over a proper period of time on a residual basis. And I distinguish, when I say residual, I'm distinguishing, and that's why you're hearing me say a combination residual and business building, because the back end of what I'm about to cover is most important to us, that differentiates us from all the other companies that are out there. But see, the thing is, we set people up for failure by giving them unrealistic expectations in terms of timetable, in terms of income, in terms of what the business is all about. Now, one of the things that I talk to people about when I do trainings is that there isn't one right way or one wrong way to do the business. I mean, you'll hear trainings from a lot of different people, and they will bring different concepts and different pieces to the table. Some you can try them, and if they work, continue to use them. If they don't work, then don't use them. If you attend trainings that I do and some of it sounds good and you use it and it doesn't work, then don't do it. If it does work, then make that part of the arsenal that you will develop what I call your rhythm, your method of operation that ultimately makes you successful based on your skill sets, based on your abilities, and over time you will continue to grow and develop those skill sets so you get better at what you do. Now, the other thing is that when people come into the business, and here's where sometimes people don't understand network marketing. My perception, and that's my disclaimer, by the way, my opinion and my perception of network marketing is that it's a distribution channel. It's a good one. It's a great one. That's why so many companies try to get there. You have the ability to move very, very quickly. but it is a distribution channel. No different than any other distribution channel. No different than direct mail. No different than internet marketing. No different than advertising in the newspaper or using electronic media. It's a channel of communications, either selling a product or service. We have the ability to move much quicker in the network marketing world because we're talking about people and how they interact with other people, where there's a trust. When you watch or read an ad in the newspaper, maybe you trust some of the information about the ad because the brand has been around a long time. They spent literally millions, hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars over the years branding their name, so you come to trust it. But you don't necessarily trust the price because you can go and find that exact same item in another ad at a different price. So that it comes down to trust, it comes down to belief. And so when we work with people, when I work with people personally, one of the things I want them to understand, it is a business. This is a business like any other business. And any good business, and especially if you're talking to people and you want to bring people into DubLi who have traditional business backgrounds, they are smart. They understand what it takes to run a business. And if you tell them they're going to make incredible money in a very short period of time with little effort or whatever, and you make it sound too good to be true, they're going to say to themselves, it sounds too good to be true, because they know it takes time and energy and money to make any good business profitable. That's just normal. If you have ever come from a traditional small business background, you know that when you went and you set up your small business, if you needed to borrow money and you went to a bank or any institution that was going to lend you money, they expected you to put a business plan together. And that business plan needed to be 3 to 5 years. They needed to see how you were going to handle it. And they would know that the first couple of years you weren't going to make any money. It wasn't going to be profitable. And you weren't going to take a great deal of money out of your business to begin with. It was about your progress. Was each year the loss is less and less till you got to a point, usually the third year or so, where you broke even. Then you can start to see the profitability of your business, and you starting to increase, taking some money out of your business. That is normal. We're in this, folks, for the long haul. We're not in this for this month or 6 months or a year. The challenge that many of us have had in the network marketing world is we've worked hard in different businesses, and we've been there, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, to have something go wrong on us, to have the products all of a sudden are found much cheaper in the store, a new formulations come out, something else has happened, and we've got to start all over. And there's a number of us that have had to do that 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times. We don't need to do that anymore where we're at here at DubLi, and that's why this particular training, from my perspective, becomes much more important than it was when I was teaching this in a traditional network marketing environment, because in that environment we still had the attrition rate that all network marketing companies have because of the failures of either the individuals, the products, whatever the case may be. But here we have a whole different situation, and this is what's going to distinguish us. So if we start people up in a proper fashion with a realistic timeline, with the expectation of them needing to learn the principles and disciplines of our business, but have the ability to earn some relatively good money up front as they develop their business, and the term relatively good money will be based on what they bring to the table. In other words, their abilities, their skill sets, their education, their contact base, the systems that we have in place, and the ability to use those that asset, if you will, with the binary front-end overlay that DubLi is now employing, which over the next 1 to 2 weeks should be completely ironed out, fully functional, so that we can have the same confidence level there as we got on the back end of our business, and that with the intent that come January, when all this is dialed in perfectly and some other announcements that will be made between now and the end of the year come to the forefront, so that all of you are aware of exactly what's going to happen in January, then this training is going to become much more important to you. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going to record it and have it available. But what we're going to do is this. We want them to understand that ability and use that front end to be able to, number one, earn back the cash very quickly on what they spent to start their business with a profit, the ability to earn, if they're part-time supplemental income, if you will, the ability to earn an extra $200, $300, $400, $500 a month consistently as the back end of their business matures and grows, if you have the ability to build significant organizations in a hurry, if you happen to have the skill sets to do internet marketing, if you have different assets you bring to the table that allow you to move quicker, then you have the ability to make some incredible income on the front end as we build and mature out the back end. Now, this is what's different between us and a traditional network marketing environment. I'm going to give you an example. In what I describe as a traditional network marketing environment, the concept there is to bring a bunch of people into the room and then to get them to pass money to the front of the room. Now, for the money they send to the front of the room, the company will give them back a nutrition, a weight loss, a juice, a cell plan, whatever it is. Now, what the company does is they will take a percentage of the money sent to the front of the room and they will send it back into the room. But the bulk of that money is going to be distributed to those who are better equipped to bring larger numbers of people into the room. So they will get the bulk of the income. So that's the nature of network marketing. Now, the problem is this. When you've been in the room 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and you continue to send more money to the front of the room than you get returned to you back from the company because you're in the room, eventually you leave the room. That's attrition. That's what happens. And the room is continually having to be refilled and refilled and refilled. In our business, we have some similarities. With DubLi, our concept is to bring people into the room. Now, we also ask them to send money to the front of the room. Now, for the money that they send to the front of the room, DubLi gives them a product, a voucher, if you will, to give to people outside the room, not in the room, outside the room. That brings them benefits. Because you got to remember, in the model, the description I gave you before, the product was staying inside the room. In our model, those vouchers are going outside the room. So we're building a base outside the room. Now, the company will send money back into the room and is exactly the same as the other model, and a larger portion of it obviously will go to those who are better equipped to bring larger numbers of people into the room. But as we continue to send money to the front of the room and we continue to have those vouchers made available to us and they go outside the room, as we build the base outside the room, we have these people outside the room sending money into the room. So over a period of time of our building our business, here's what happens. It doesn't happen in network marketing. All of a sudden, we've got more money coming into the room from outside the room than money being generated into the room that we're sending to the front of the room. And the money coming into the room is generally dispersed to all of us who are in the room, with a small percentage of it going to the company. So there's two questions that I ask when I make that description to people. Number one is, in that scenario, if you are, I don't know what happened there. If you are in the room and you're making a whole lot more money than you are sending to the front of the room, do you personally care who leaves the room? And the answer is no. But the other question I ask is, when people inside the room are making a lot more money than they're sending to the front of the room, does anybody leave the room? And the answer is no. Nobody leaves what they're doing when they're making money. As long as they're in a profit position, they're never going to leave the room. And if they never leave the room, that means the time is growing and the back end will always be growing and maturing for them, so their earnings will continue to increase. That does not happen in a traditional network marketing model. That is one of the reasons why within my personal groups, this particular training about return on investment helps to position people mentally to understand this is a business. It's a great business. And like in any other business, it'll take a little bit of time, depending on your skill sets, to mature and grow your business so that you have the residual income. But here's the other piece that we have that the other companies don't have. If you've been on some of the other trainings I've done before, I teach what I call an exit strategy. And the exit strategy is your financial number that you want to know you have every single month, whether you're working or not. Now that number could be $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month. I don't care what the number is. Whatever the number is, it's your number. That's what you want, so that you know you can take care of your family in a fashion that you've always dreamed of and wanted to be able to provide for them. When you go into your back office and you go into the residual income, that is the income derived from the personal customers and your organizational customers, those two components only, when you see that number is 100% funded from those two components added together, you're done, finished. Technically speaking, you could lose your entire organization and never affect your income. Why? Because the retail consumer is not attached to our genealogy as it is in other network marketing companies. In the other network marketing companies, they call them preferred customers, wholesale customers, whatever they call them, but they're part of the genealogy. With the exception of home party companies, you know, the companies that you go in and you're selling, you know, cosmetic, whatever you're selling, and you collect cash in homes. Well, we're not in that business. We're in this. We have a network marketing component to what we do, and that's on the front end side. But the customer is a customer, paying full retail price for the product or service that they're purchasing, with no vested interest or knowledge that there's even an opportunity attached. So when that is done, you are done, because it won't go away. The company handles the care and feeding of the retail side of the business, as I put it. And that makes us so different than any other company that's out there today. Now, to build what DubLi is building has taken a great deal of time and a great deal of trial and error and energy to get to where they're at today. And we're heading into we're heading into 12 years. And so to dial in this kind of a business model has been significant. We're here now. You know, you've seen the announcements that have been made that are literally coming out now daily in the network side. If you take a look at some of these announcements, the thing I will tell you is this: as we finish off the front end and we get that completely dialed in, and I think I've told some of you, and maybe it hasn't gone out to everybody yet, but you know, the company that DubLi initially hired to do the front end development, the software and coding development of our binary front end, DubLi is their tech people, and their internal people are now taking it over. It's not gonna stay in the hands of an outside company. So they're taking it over. We're gonna refine it. We know that we've had some challenges and errors. Those are being repaired, and they will be fixed. Everything will be fixed. There's some recalculations being done now. I would suspect over the next 1 to 2 weeks, it will be 100% in the hands of DubLi people. It will be dialed in correctly. It will be fully functional, and it will run like clockwork, as our compensation plan has done for years and years and years and years, with no errors, no issues, nothing getting in our way. So rest assured, that is being handled. Any errors, any challenges we've had, any miscalculations that we've had will be fixed. They will be fixed. And so this portion right here, as we start talking to people and new people coming into our business and recognizing the fact that we will have some announcements here about new promotional activity that will impact the retail side of our business, the customers. The incentives customers will be given to want to immediately sign up as VIP customers, which again is our exit strategy. The ability for us to validate that to potential business associates, especially significant business owners, business builders, where we can truly document the fact that we now have a true retail component that is growing, that we can see significantly the financial results that come from it, that we can actually document and show the viral growth that comes from it. When we have all of that in place, and we will have it shortly, the recruiting side, the business building side of our business becomes a whole lot simpler, especially if you're talking to people that have experience from the direct sales network marketing industry. They've been at it a while. They've seen what I just described to you. They've seen the attrition rate. They've been with 1, 2, 3, 4 companies. They themselves, if they're honest with you, will admit, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of doing what I said I was going to do, to have the company let me down, to have a legal entity shut them down, or whatever it is. They want a home. They want someplace that they can have the confidence that's in it for the long haul, that they can put the time and energy in and know the residual income will be there. The only way you can have residual income is when you have a retail customer not vested in your business. It's the only way, folks. It can't be done any other way. And when we have all that in place, you will have a line. Write this down. Well, you can just write it down, seal the envelope up, put it someplace, and then we'll readdress it in 6 months. You can make a note that I said this, and what is today? Today's December 20th. You will have a line of people wanting to become part of your business, and you will have to have them wait while you handle those that you're currently enrolling, setting up to get them launched correctly. Because we will be the talk. We will be the place that people want to be at. We will be the new bar by which everything else is measured. What we have to do is start our people correctly, set them up for success, not failure, recognize the fact, based on their skill sets, based on their abilities, based on the time commitment to their business, that they will be able to make some good money up front, whatever that means to them, and then have the residual income that is their retirement, is their exit strategy, is their golden parachute, it is whatever you want to call it. It's in place for them. This, with DubLi, we have more principles and disciplines with similarities to traditional business than we would have to the networking business. Now, the networking pieces that we have is relationship-based. It's how we build our network. It's why a lot of you are here. You're here because you've got a relationship with who invited you into the business and who is your sponsor. And that will apply for a good portion of our business. Now, there are some of you that have great skill sets at internet marketing, and you have the ability to bring numbers to the table. The challenge will be not on your ability to bring numbers to the table, but for you to have the ability to maintain the integrity of those numbers so the attrition rate isn't the same for that piece of our environment as it would be for a traditional network marketing environment. And the reason that there can be a differential is this. All businesses have their issues. All businesses have challenges. That's the nature of business. What keeps people connected is the relationships we got with other people in the business and the communications that we have. And so if you're in it strictly for the money, only for the money, the people don't matter, and when you run into a challenge, maybe there's an issue, maybe the money isn't what you thought it was supposed to be, it's easy to quit and go do something else. That's human nature. But when you're in it for the long haul, when you recognize that it is a business like any other business, you work together as a team. So if you've got the skill sets to bring them to the table, then we got to get them from that point, even when they engage, is to start educating them about the value that DubLi represents to the consumer and about the ability, not necessarily in the old style networking, if you will, but the relationships. People don't care what you know. They care about that you care. And so if we spend our time with the people who made a commitment to us, who've trusted us, who believed in us and became part of our business, whether it's through the traditional relationship of networking or through internet marketing, cold marketing, however you do it, it still comes back to that relationship that we develop with people over time. Why do businesses like Nordstrom and some of the other companies out there develop the reputations that they've developed? It's because they've instilled customer service in their people. When people come into the stores, they get good service. They get the, people look at the cards, they call them by name when they give them the receipts. They do the things that make people feel good. And so if we're using the modern tools, and by the way, we should use the modern tools. We need to plug in the systems and increase the numbers so we get the exposure up. But when we get them, then we need to reach out and continue to develop the relationships and plug them into the systems that we have available. We have the ability with DubLi to reach out and use all tools available to us, all tools, whether it's traditional relationship aspect of networking, whether it's internet marketing, whether you've got expertise in traditional advertising and it brings you the results because you have that expertise there. Some of you have got relationships with call centers. You all have different tools available to you based on your experiences. Bring them to the table. Utilize them in a fashion that makes the best sense for you. Develop your rhythm, not somebody else's, not mine, not your sponsors. It will be your rhythm. It's based on how you speak to people, how you conduct yourself, all the things that make you who you are. We have the ability to build a business to allow us to generate the kind of income that in our wildest dreams we dreamed of, but maybe didn't really believe we could get or have. And now you can deliver to your families what you have always secretly wished you could do, but maybe didn't think you were smart enough, young enough, old enough, bright enough, whatever it is. I'm telling you, you are. And I'm telling you, we've got it. I'm also telling you that it's a business. We'll have good days. We'll have bad days. When we have the bad days, you call whoever your support group is. You chat about it. Say, I've got one of those days. Again, let's go through the numbers. Why am I here? What are we doing? Great. Okay, thank you very much. It's the nature of business. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy where we're at. I recognize the fact that we will always have new challenges as they come along in terms of technology. When we introduce new products and services, some will be no problem, some will have some challenges. That's okay. That's okay. We as a group, those of you on this training, those of you that internalize it, utilize it, take what works, great. Whatever doesn't work, God bless, no problem. Listen to other trainers, listen to other folks. Develop the tools that you need. Develop what I call them the arrows in your quiver so that you have more and more to draw from. At the end of the day, it comes down to us helping our people get what they want. And it is an old saying, and it's true. If we help our people get what we want, it doesn't matter what we want. We will get it all. And collectively as a group, we will outdistance anybody that's out there. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope that you know, I want you to take this, and over the next couple of weeks, with Christmas coming, there will be some announcements made by DubLi. Come January 1, somewhere the first week of January, there'll be an amazing number of announcements being made. Some of it is going to become more, this will become more relevant to what you hear then. Anything I can do to help you send emails, whatever. But I'm telling you, folks, we are at a place right now, it's amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. I want you all to take it to heart, do what you need to do to strengthen your businesses. If you've got some concerns, get them addressed with your support groups. But we're about to embark on something that's amazing. 2015 is going to be a year that's going to be unprecedented for every single one of them, for every single one of us. With that, let me give me 1 second.